Hey guys, Alex Fedotoff here. I'm very, very excited today to have one of our clients, Albert, originally from Spain, right?
Correct.
Now living in Australia, doing 20K per day with his e-commerce brand, and he'll share the secrets that he used to scale his brand, the mindset, everything that you need to know about like scaling e-commerce brands and specifically influencers. We'll talk about influencers deep. And thank you, Albert, for making this. Thank you for making this happen.
Thanks, Alex, man. Honored to be here.
Cool. Awesome. So how did you start with e-commerce in the first place? Like what sparked you? Like why you jumped on the opportunity?
Yeah, man. I think it was like maybe 7-8 years ago. I was doing my master's. I was studying in London, and I was poor as hell. And I don't know. I got into a forum. The whole how to make money online, and I got into a forum about like eBay, importing and reselling.
So why you wanted to make money? Like you want to make money because like you were broke, like you couldn't.
Yeah, man.
Stuff?
Yeah. So I just did the whole straight line of like, since you're a kid, you just go school, high school, university, masters. Never worked, never made any money of my. I was 23. I was just living on allowances. I was like, this sucks. and I was in London, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world back then. And I just couldn't do anything, so I just thought I gotta do something. And yeah, I just always had this little thing about selling things, and like since I was a kid, I would sell drawings of like meta boards and stuff to my to my colleagues at school. And anyway, I got into eBay. I read a bit, and I did the whole research for a couple of months, and then I imported a couple of products. One of them hit it. And within 3 months, within 2 months or 3 months, something like that, I made like 10 grand pounds, which I had never seen back then in profit. And like it just clicked, as soon as that started rolling in, it just clicked that this is what I need to do.
And so did you drop the studies?
No, I finished the studies. I was a bit stupid actually. I finished I got cocky. I thought, I'm good at this. I could do this anywhere. Whatever happens, I can always do this. So I finished the studies, and I was like, I've studied enough. I was tired of it, and I'm like, I want to go to Australia. I want to live there for a year. I want to do something that I don't take work back home, and I just can relax for a year. And so ecom was always there, but I got here and I was like, I'm just gonna do hospitality, something that I don't have to do anything. And I got into hospo, and I just got down the rabbit hole of hospo for 4 years. And ecom never... Yeah, hospitality. Like cafes.
Oh, okay.
I was working in cafes where I was a barista.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so you make
for 4 years.
Like espresso, like proper espresso?
Yeah. I'm in Melbourne. So Melbourne's the capital of coffee in the world. So coffee in here is different from anywhere else. I really got into that. And then 4 years in, I was like... you reach a point where there's nowhere else to go, or like the next step is not worth the effort, in my opinion. And so
what's the effort? Like that's like what? Like buying the whole restaurant, the whole cafe, and writing it?
Yeah,
yourself?
I guess that's part of it. Or you could. The highest level would be to compete for like world competitions, and then once you get recognition for world competition, then whatever you do, it works. You know what I mean? Like you can open cafes, you can open. You just get to the level of mastery that you can do anything.
So it's like the competition, like for barista, is like who makes the heart like nicer, or what?
They don't do hearts these days, man. They make whatever the hell you want. They make robots. They make animals. They make anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good fun. But
next time we meet, you make me like a proper coffee.
I'll make the coffee.
So 4 years is kind of like it just drawn you in, like you were like in it. Like, have you tried to do something on the side or not really?
When I got here, I first tried to do the whole eBay thing with using this app Terapic, which back in I don't know if they use it anymore, but yeah, it was just like research is all of eBay. Anyway, I tried to use that, and it turns out in Australia it was much more competitive because Australia is so close to Asia that a lot of Chinese people in Australia are already dominating the eBay market with prices that you just can't compete with because you just don't have access to these costs. So I tried it for a little bit. I did a few things, but it didn't quite work. And then I sort of dropped. I tried to start a few like passion brands, but without having any idea about marketing. I started like a watch, a little watch brand with these bamboo watches. I started a reusable like environmentally friendly items, reusable straws and all of that stuff. That one was pretty interesting, but I had zero idea of marketing, zero, nothing.
And how much you would spend on each of those projects? How much like to launch the project like that?
I can't remember for the watches. I just got a few samples. I can't remember, maybe under $1,000. For the straw thing turned out to be a little bit bigger than I thought. And maybe I think I ran it for like 6 months, and eventually I had like a big order, wholesale order, and it kind of broke even. Maybe I made like, I don't know, maybe I spent 5K, I made 6, and broke even, and I was like sick of it because I had no idea what I was doing. And I just cut it off there. So I got really tired of hospitality and where that could lead. And so I had a friend from coffee who all of a sudden his social media changed from coffee to like entrepreneur and business and like being the best version of yourself. And I was like, I resonate with like a little bit where you're going. And he was from Hawaii, and he came here for a visit. I'm like, I want to talk to you. Like, I want to see what you're doing and what you're up to. And we had a chat, we had some coffee, and he told me he had been doing drop shipping, and he had sold he had made and sold 3 drop shipping brands for like 30K each. And I was like, I gotta get onto this. Like I had heard about drop shipping, but in the world of import and reselling, drop shipping is always the black sheep, you know, like that's a scam. It sucks, like all the shipping times, you don't have control over anything.
Yeah.
I had a bad idea of it. So that day that I had that chat with him, I went back home and I started researching courses, and I didn't get your course, I didn't know about you yet. I got someone else's course, and I just, like, from that day, that's what I've been doing for 4 years, just learning and learning and learning and learning.
How much revenue you made your first year?
First year, so it took me maybe 6 months to start, like, actually to find the winner. A really, really, really problematic winner, but yeah, 6 months, and then I made like 100K on that product revenue, maybe 200, 150, 200K, I think, revenue. And I think that was the first year, and then that was when I started learning about you. I had a friend which came into one of your interviews, Bas.
Bas,
yeah. We chatted for a long time. Bas was ahead of me. And it was just in the beginning of him starting to like explode and get it, and we were chatting every day, and he recommended me to you. I was in the cafe watching your videos, you know, the first hour of the day, quiet. I was just watching your videos every day, every freaking morning. And I remember it because like you were a big turning point. Your videos were a big turning point in my understanding of the whole funnel that the user goes through from creative to sale. And so you know how when you first get to Ads Manager and like everything is a mumbo jumbo, and one day after watching, I don't know, your videos for a month or 2 months, one day it's like the matrix just kind of like, boop, oh, now I get it. Now I see the funnel.
Clicked. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. And that was from your old videos, those like 40-minute, 50-minute videos where you were just go through KPIs, all of your Facebook ads, etc.
What have been the major like learnings for you, or the major like mindset shifts, let's say, that you wish you would have known those, like, let's say 4 years ago when you started?
Yeah. Look, to be very honest, I probably knew these things before, or I had heard them, but they never clicked. They never made sense, or they never, things that people tell you, oh, you shouldn't do products that may have batteries or things like this, or you should don't scale too hard before you know how the logistics work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These things. People tell you, but you don't get it until you make the mistake, and then you learn. And so I probably wouldn't change much, but the biggest lessons have been probably don't scale too hard. Like as soon as you have a winner, don't start just pushing budget without knowing exactly what the customer is receiving and how they're receiving it. We had a massive one of the first big winners that I had, which made like, I don't know, I think that one made close to $1 million in revenue, just on this one product. Start of COVID, it was like I can say it doesn't matter. It was like an eye trimmer, like a little thing that the girls, all of a sudden couldn't do their eyebrows, and
I know what you're talking about.
You know what it's for sure.
Yeah.
And so I scaled that to like a mil, but I don't know, 3,000 orders in, I realized that customers were receiving a package where there was a little slot for a battery, but there wasn't any battery in the package. And so all of a sudden, I had 3,000 customers that got their product with something missing, and I was like, I talked to my agent. I'm like, why didn't you tell me this? Because it doesn't make sense to them. To like, this is not so important to them, you know.
You can go to the store and buy batteries, no?
Exactly, exactly. So like that was a big lesson. As soon as something works, you have to talk to your agent and you have to tell them very clearly, send me photos of how everything is.
Photos or even maybe like a video, right? Like kind of like the unpacking, kind of like how everything looks.
Yeah, for sure. That was a big one. Don't scale too hard during holidays.
Have you made money on that? Like, have you had like any profit left after like dealing with everything?
Yeah, for sure. That made me the first kind of like little bag, very little bag, but like, you know, it gave me the confidence to quit my other job and to just focus on this full time. And then since then, it's been a bit of a rocky road. It was a bit of a rocky road. The other big mistake that I made is that when something works, don't go and switch sides. Don't try something. Don't go and try other things. Just stick to it and nail down on it. And I did this product following your systems, and after that nightmare, because it was a nightmare, it was really, really stressful. I was like, I don't want to do this system anymore because I don't feel like I have, like I'm doing good, you know, it's just stressful. So I'm going to try a different dropshipping system. And I just went with, I took a mentorship from someone else that does a completely different method. And even though it was like, I learned a lot, I didn't follow his method in the end, but yeah, I switched sides. And then all of the learning that I had done on one side wasn't perpetuated, and I simply just started from scratch on a different side. And then kind of like things start to get rocky, and like you don't make money for a bit, and it's a bit stressful. But honestly, as long as you keep focus and you don't start to jump boats, it'll happen.
How much capital you had at that point? Like
next to nothing, like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Australian.
Exactly. Wow. Divided into.
yeah, basically.
So it's crazy, you know, like I think, man, like people like kind of like appreciate the opportunity that we are given like with e-commerce, because where do you find a business that's like you can start with like literally no capital, you can be profitable very fast. Sometimes, you know, if everything goes well, you can be profitable day one, right? I mean, business can cash flow from like the first months, right? Potentially, like, and you can operate it from anywhere. You don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. I mean, ideally, leave your house and get some fresh air. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, so I was thinking about this because like, it's like, yeah, this could be bad or this. I mean, go and operate like, I mean, even the restaurant business is hard. You have food. You have to also like drive traffic consistently, like. You know, everyone needs to be smiling all the time.
Yeah.
Like, be happy all the time. You know, and like it's.
You have rent costs. Like, you have costs of everything. You have like rents. You have staff. You have It's crazy. I agree with you. It's crazy.
I have like 6 restaurants here in the next building. Like 4 of them are almost like out of business. I can see like, geez, you know, it's. So we are blessed with this opportunity. What was your process from start to finish in terms of like finding the idea, like validating the idea? Like deciding to go into that marketing strategy, branding, kind of like walk us through.
So 2 very significant things happened for this to happen, which tie together with the lessons that we just discussed. One of them is that I aligned my focus. So after 3 years in e-com, I was pretty beat up, and crypto started to pop up, NFTs started to pop up, and my focus split. As many of the people that will be watching this video, your focus splits. And when your focus splits between something that you've been doing for 3 years and learning for 3 years and something that you have no idea about, you're doomed to fail at all of them.
I can tell you there's literally no one knows what they're talking about. And crypto is like, it's a pure guess, you know, it's like.
It's crazy. It's like
no one actually knows. It's like,
no.
It's a fairy tale.
It's crazy. you need skills, you need experience, you need years in it, you need lessons, and we're all trying to get in there and get the next, get into the next wave of everything and become multimillionaires out of nowhere. And 99.9% just lose money. So if you're in that situation, you've been doing this for 3 years and now you're just jumping ship and nothing's working. I lost some money on crypto and I'm like, there's no point pursuing recovery with this money. It wasn't that much. It was like 10 grand, maybe. And I was like, there's no point pursuing
this.
Good
for you, man.
Yeah. I have some horror stories from some friends, but yeah. And so I said, from now on, I even set alarms on my phone, reminders. From now on, I'm only going to focus on e-com until it works. And there's no plan B, there's no escape, there's nothing. If it doesn't work, you're just going to die poor, and that's it. But that's it, there's no options. And as soon as I did that, I found a lot of clarity on what needed to be done. And what needs to be done is you need to compartmentalize your tasks and address them in what has the highest leverage for the lowest amount of effort, or what your biggest bottlenecks, put all your entire focus onto those bottlenecks. So in that case, my biggest bottleneck was Facebook shutting down everything. Facebook was a nightmare for me. And that's when the second great thing came along, which was my now business partner, Eli, who is responsible to the exact same extent, if not more, about the success of this business than I am. And he and I are friends from 3 years ago, maybe, from e-commerce, and we would always talk, and we were in similar situations in e-commerce, and so we just help each other a lot. And he was kind of like fed up with dropshipping as well, and he had this store, and he had a product that was kind of running, and for some reason his Facebook assets had always been blessed, and he had never had a single disabling ever.
Oh wow,
crazy. Wow. And he's like, I was like pursuing e-com, and he's like, I'm tired of this. He was working at an agency, and he's like, I'm just going to build my own agency. And if you want, you can have my assets, you can have my store. If you can make it work, we just arranged the deal of like how much we would split the profit of that product. And he gave, I said no at first. I said, no, I want to do this myself. And he's like, really? You're being stupid. Like, you have a problem and I have a solution. Why don't you take it? And I thought about it for a day, and I'm like, again, focus. Like, my bottleneck is this, so solve it. Solution is his assets. And so I took that, and then I rebranded a little bit the whole thing. I just started putting a lot of focus on this one product that he had. It was making like $500 revenue a day or something like that, a little bit of profit. And so I rebranded the whole thing, and it started pumping. And then him and we made a mistake that we didn't set clear conditions of how the profit would be split for these products. And I was convinced that I wanted to pursue this opportunity alone, without help from anyone. I was sure that I had the tools now and the experience to build a brand from this, a proper brand. And he kind of wanted to get into the business again. And I was like, I was a bit sass. I was like, now that it's working, you kind of want to go in. And we had a bit of a turbulent time. But yeah, man, but eventually I was like,
partnerships are hard.
They're hard. But like, honestly, I'm so happy that he pushed through, because he kept pushing me, and I'm like, you know what? It's not like arguing about this is not worth our friendship. So if we're just gonna do it together, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we'll just learn from it. And if it works, great. And he jumped into the business, and we just turned it around. Like, he helped me turn the whole thing, or he turned it around, basically. He's the opposite of me in many aspects. So that's one thing that really helped. We have complementary skills. I'm extremely on the analytical CRO side of things, and just very analytical. And he is an executioner. He thinks and executes, and he doesn't stutter, man. If we need a new team member, if we need a new hire for whatever, he will have sourced 20 applicants, he will have interviewed 10, and he will have one perfect by the end of the day. It's like, he's crazy like that. He's amazing. He's incredible. Nice. And so he's much more on the creative and social Instagram team building side of things, and I'm more on the CRO and offer. Yeah, we're both giving direction, but we have very complementary skills. And these two things, focus and a partner that is complementary to you, that's what really, like, when you have a partner that's complementary to you, 1 + 1 is not 2, 1 + 1 is 3. You know what I mean? And you're competing with solopreneurs. So even if people know your products, even if people see you win, they just don't have the time to catch up. They can't. So
Wow,
that was
such
crucial.
a good point. Such a good point. Yeah, it's like, yeah, as you said, it's like everyone is like competing against each other, right? And like, what do you have like special, right? Like, is that your, I don't know, the team, right? I mean, team is obviously the ultimate kind of, you know, it can, if you have a great team, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Like, you can adapt, you can change, you can tweak, right? The strategies, tactics, you can figure out if you have people that are like aligned in their vision. So that's awesome. In terms of the like tactical side, like of things, so okay, you started like advertising on Facebook. Like, what's been working for you? What hasn't been working? Like, what have you learned, you know, throughout this process?
Yeah, so we started advertising on Facebook. We had a bit of a golden time where like every.
Did you source like custom content from day one, or you took content from the internet? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, we started with content from AliExpress, literally the stock photos from AliExpress. And then things kind of like started working, like everything that we put up kind of worked. It was a very, very, very niche. That's another important thing. We have a very niche audience, and we're solving a big problem, and we're solving it well. So one thing that I really think about often is this sentence that I heard once that says, success is when preparation meets opportunity. And so after all these years of us working on it, we were prepared, and we had the opportunity of an AliExpress product that actually solved a problem really successfully. So it was a mix of everything. So we started with Facebook ads, with stock photos, then we started getting serious. I organized a photo shoot, and we started putting out, you know, we changed the whole site with our photos and everything, still without differentiating our product, so still using the AliExpress products. And the next step was differentiating, so that we knew very clearly, thanks to one of your videos actually, with this kid that's like 20 years old, and he's doing like 100K days, can't remember his name.
Alias.
Yeah, that guy. He has a really, really good video with you where he explains the process of how he addresses winners, and one of the first things is differentiate from competition. And so we changed the color of the product, we branded it a little bit, and we did another photo shoot. And then everything that we put out, it just kind of worked. Like we would have 3, 4 ROAS, 5 ROAS on literally every freaking ad that we put out. So that was fantastic. And then I knew that we had to like separate a little bit from Facebook. So because of all these problems that we had for years. And so I have a friend in here in Melbourne that had he's like a systems king. He just systematizes everything. And I knew that he had systematized his influencer outreach program. And so I reached out to him and I'm like, hey man, how you, would you mind running me through this? And he showed me, and it's literally, it's the craziest system where he's just constantly reaching out to influencers and putting them through his pipeline. And then as soon as the snowball is big enough, like every day you're just having content shared on social media, you have the content available for your ads, and you just have like all of this social proof, all of this trust built onto your brand, and all of this content that you can use. So we adopted it immediately. And as soon as we adopted it and it started rolling out, as soon as the snowball was big enough, because we're still drop shipping, you know, so like things take time to arrive to these influencers.
Yeah.
So it's like, and after everything was like rolling in, then all of a sudden we were doing, we were just doing like over 10K days with 30 to 35, sometimes 40% profit margins, because, you know, Facebook was killing it, and then we had all of these people sharing it on Instagram. So like it was hectic.
Wow.
And so even now, sometimes Facebook is at break even, and we're still at like 20-25% profit margins. And it's just the snowball has gotten so big that you just need to put more fire in the pit, you know.
And you're still shipping from China?
This week we will start having US fulfillment completely for our main products.
What do you use? Like we use like ShipBob or something?
No, actually, I had a chat with them, but I wasn't quite into them. We're using 4PX actually, which is a Chinese company, which we're very lucky with our agent that I've had for like 2 or 3 years. We're like best friends with him, and
is that the same agent? The same agent who didn't check batteries, or different one?
No, different one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the next one. And this guy has been always like super. He's been always amazing. And when we told him about 3PL, he's like, "Oh, I'll search for you. Don't worry." And he found this. We don't even have contact with this 3PL because they're Chinese, but they have the best systems, the best, like the best costs. The prices are stupid low, and we just like we can trust them completely because their systems are infallible. So we're just moving with them, and we're gonna start shipping from the US now this coming week, which I think is gonna be huge for us. And we're kind of like right now we're at a point where we're on a little bit of standby in terms of scaling. We don't want to grow too fast too much because we want to fix everything. We want to make a product. So I've mentioned Alex Hormozy. I don't want to like I listen to a lot of different people, but like the people that have made the most impact are you, Alex Hormozy, probably Sam Ovens had a lot of impact. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Hormozy, and one of the things that he focuses a lot is on making a product so good that customers would feel stupid saying no to. That's his sentence. And that's what I'm focusing a lot on those values of we need to make a product that if we stop advertising right now, it keeps growing. Do you know what I mean? So one of the exercises that he recommends is think about your product and think about if you were to sell it for 10 times the price right now, what sort of value would you have to add to this product so that it would justify it for customers, and then try to add this value. And so
at the same price.
Exactly. And so when you add this value, when you add this question, you start thinking about what things can I do with the lowest cost or no cost that can bring the highest leverage to my offer. And we're moving along these lines. We're trying to add value without any cost. A lot of the things that we do in e-commerce, especially when we're entrepreneurs, is we just do. You just if you're not doing something, you feel like you're not working, like you're not being useful, and you just fill yourself with useless tasks. And one thing that we forget to do is to just sit down and think about your business and think what's going on with your business and think how you can improve your business. And literally sit down. There's a really good book about it that I had a chat with Sam from your group. Sam, I can't say his surname.
Olavali.
Yeah. And he recommended this book, Road to Less Stupid. And in this book, there's a bit that talks about this, like sit down for 45 minutes with one detailed, significant question about your business and think about what things you can do. And things like, for example, you sit down with the question, how can I add 10 times more value to my offer without incurring in any costs? And then you sit down for 45 minutes and you list everything down. And then you start applying these things as in the order that's less costly.
So at what point did you join like ESS?
We joined back when we were sort of redoing the whole branding of the website. We were at like maybe 3K days back then. We knew the business had legs, so we knew that we needed someone that could really put us in a straight line of like, all right, these are the priorities that need to be done, and this is how it needs to be done. We needed someone that had done this many times, and obviously you had been instrumental to my previous success. So I always had you on. I have ads of you on the remote app that I have on my phone. I use a remote control app for the TV. You appear up there. So I was like, it's time to do this mentorship.
You can't hide.
You can't. You really can't. It's crazy. And obviously, like with someone that's so prominent everywhere and knowing what I knew about you, I was like, this is the right thing to do. We discussed it with Eli, my partner, and he's like, look, if you think this is the step, we'll just take it. And we did that, and honestly, that was by far one of the best investments that we've made in our business. This is a bit biased because like our business already had a bit of leg, so we know that many ways could have led to success, but the ways that Sergey, our mentor with you, gave us, brought us from 3 to 15K days within 2 calls. So we have a lot to thank Sergey for. He's a beast.
It's like you're like we have an amazing team, but like in the first place you follow through, like because you get the same information to like 100 people and like 5 people actually do it. I had this conversation with Joseph Martin. He's the founder of there's this big brand. He scaled to like $500 million a year. He sold it for $500 million. Very good transaction. The business is called Boxy Charm. You can find him on Instagram. Joseph.
I saw it. I watched your interview. Very cool guy. And I'm like, we're having conversation. And I'm like, gee, how much you've been spending on because we come from the Facebook ads background. That's what we have learned. And I'm like, okay, how much you've been spending on on Facebook, because from my understanding, that's the main kind of platform. And he's like, oh, I mean, we've been spending $30K per day. But that's at the point, about 30K per day, that's at the point where they were or 50K per day, something like 30, 50, doesn't matter, because at that point, business was doing about $40 million per month. So if you take that as a percentage of the revenue, that's 3% of the revenue, something like that, something very irrelevant compared to let's say most businesses now spend 20, 30, 50% of their revenue on Facebook, That's where they're so overly dependent. And so, okay, wow. So what do you spend your marketing dollars for? And he said, it's influencers. And it kind of relates to what you said. It's the offers for these subscription boxes was so good because for $20 per 20 bucks, $10, $20 per month, you get the box with whole kind of size, the full size items for different brands that if you go to the store, you'd pay $hundreds for, right? You get literally the value is so high in that package that people wouldn't want to unsubscribe. That was the reason why they're scaled in 7 years to from zero to $500 million. Yeah, that interview was crazy. I really loved where his head was at. I learned a lot from him. And that's exactly it. He just worked. He says it very clearly. We just made an experience so crazy. The value discrepancy between what customers paid for and what they got was so huge that it is impossible not to just grow exponentially. To this point, as much as people may be hearing this now and they may be like, oh, that makes sense. I also heard that back when I was just doing my selling friggin' eyebrow trimmers and stuff. This, unless you're just an alien of society and you can internalize these things without actually going through some of the hassles of it, it takes, or at least it took me going through it and realizing, hard lessons of all right, I fucked up, I'm very stressed, now I learned. It takes a little bit of going through that. It's not as easy as just someone's telling you and you go oh, okay, so I'm just gonna not go that route at all, and now I can trust that this route is the right route 100%. And now it makes so much sense that every time I see someone trying to dropship things and trying to focus on making the bag instead of really creating something that'll sustain them, that customers will just be extremely happy with, I just think if you just sit down and think about it, I'm sure you can improve that to the point where you have a business,
The percentage of businesses that like yours, I mean, you're you're running a 7-figure business, if you're doing everything well, next year it could possibly be an 8-figure business.
For
and
sure.
If you think about it from that perspective, it's what percentage of businesses ever get to 7 figures? And it's a very small percentage. I think in the United States it's 4% of the businesses. So 96% of them never even reached let's say $1 million in annual revenue. These people start businesses, but then guess what? They have exactly the same challenges, right, as you have had. Okay, you made a bad decision. Okay, a lot of refunds, a lot of chargebacks, whatever, right? Okay, so you took that experience. Obviously, it was painful. but then you readjust it from that experience. So next time you try to do it a little bit smarter. Okay, you learn from that experience. Now let me do it a little bit smarter, right? Then next business, again, you're making some mistakes, so let me do the next business like a little bit smarter. And if you continuously like go through life this way, right? But you just like next time just do it a little bit better, instead of like totally changing direction. That's how you get like massive results. It's phenomenal what kind of like how your business has evolved. That journey is like, I resonate with it so much, and hopefully it inspires like at least a few people that are listening to this to make their business better, make their business more sustainable, just invest more time and effort and financial resources to making their customer experience better. Because like in 2-3 years you want to have like a real business that you can potentially exit, or the business that would have a great cash flow, so you can like take care of yourself, your family. And in order to do that, the decisions that you're making today, and sometimes that extra sacrifice, that extra like energy, that extra like financial resource that you're investing back into the business, instead of like blowing on bottles in a club, that can make a difference. So
I agree.
thank you, I think this can inspire some really cool people.
I hope so, man. I hope so, because it's easy to fall into the narrative of society of just like follow the straight line and be just part of the another cog in the system, which there's nothing wrong with it. In the end, it all comes down to like what you value in life. Like what do you want your life to look like? Where do you get fulfillment from? Like I'm sure that there's plenty of people that are much happier than me, much more fulfilled than me, and they have their jobs, their 9 to 5s, and so I don't see anything wrong with that.
Show me those people. I'll hire them.
No, I'm sure. Look, my parents.
No, it's someone. If someone enjoys what they do, I think that's happiness. It doesn't matter. You work for someone. You do your own business. Like I think that's happiness, and I love working with people that like truly like enjoy their craft. There's like even some small business owners, and they do like pizza, and they do pizza for like last 50 years, and they're happy making that pizza, and it's like special pizza and the best pizza in town. It's awesome. It's like it's awesome to love what you do, right? It's like when you I think that's phenomenal. Like it doesn't matter. It's like if you work for someone or like you do your own business. We're like top like 1%. It's like, and there's nothing kind of like, it's not that we're putting ourselves like above these people, like other people, but it's like what we do requires sacrifice, and not everyone is okay with that.
That's why it's important. Like a lot of people, you hear it a lot, but the whole you gotta love the process. You gotta love the process. Love the process. You hear it, but like you really have to love the process, because the result is not the outcome in financial. The result is the process, which is what you're going to do with your life for the whole time that you're living this life, which is you may think, I'm just going to do this for like 5-10 years, and then I'm going to sell it all and retire and whatever. You're not going to do this for 5-10 years and be successful unless you love it to the point where you just want to continue to do it. You know what I mean? It'd be hard for you to get to the point of success where you just go, all right, I sell everything, that's it, I don't have to do anything else ever, because you just love it. So if you don't love that process, it'll be difficult. So I suggest you try. One of the first things that I would like, or the first thing that I would like to try to imbue in anyone that's in a situation of like frustration, having troubles with Facebook, having troubles with this, we've all been there. Focus, keep your focus on just one thing. Keep your focus on this business. If you do this for long enough, it's unreasonable for you to not become great at it. So this needs to be something that's ingrained in your brain. If you do this long enough, it is unreasonable for you to not succeed. Okay? So if you've picked the boat that you think is the right boat, stick to the boat. Don't start jumping boats. That's the first thing. The second would be going a little bit in line with what I learned from this kid, 100K day kid. More like towards the dropshipping business and more actionable things. What I would follow now if I was starting a brand from scratch, or if I was starting a dropshipping store from scratch, is first I would focus on finding a product that works by any means. Focus on a product that solves a problem, and try to find content from wherever you have to find content and make it work for a little bit. As soon as it's working for a couple of weeks, you need to start separating from the competition. So you need to start. I'm trying to shift this you need to or you should to like this is how I would do it. I would separate from the competition by like as little as changing the color of the product, adding a little branding in there. Just change that. I would change that aspect. And then this is very important. I want to test prices. I want to start testing price points. How much are my customers willing to pay for this product? So you learn about Google Optimize, which is my favorite tool in the world right now. Learn about Google Optimize, launch some split tests, see how much your customers are willing to pay, and then you will want to test everything else, but just start there. And after you've nailed down the price, then you can start scaling a little bit at the same time that you start thinking about how to improve this customer experience. We need to focus on improving customer experience. I would never scale a product anymore without sorting out the customer experience, because it'll become troublesome. I understand that you may have to do that at first because you don't have budget, because you don't have the financial resources to get to that. And that's fine, like as long as you're not doing wrong by the customer. If they want a refund. But like once you have enough money, it is essential that we focus on customer experience. So that's the three stages that I would go through, just for some actionable steps. And find an amazing partner. Yeah.
Awesome, Albert. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. How can people connect with you?
I'm not very much on the socials, but I guess on Discord you could try to hit me up. I'll send you the details to leave them.
Yeah. That's I found like every single like everyone who's doing well. I'm like, how can people connect with you? Like, I'm not very active on social media.
We're growing.
Success live clues. Like it's like, it's like that's where your time is spent growing the business. Like That's why, guys, screen time, please, screen time. Watch your screen time, minimize it. Like if it's more than 1 hour a day, and like unless you're making videos like for and making content and like selling something, like that's a time that you can invest in your business. That's it. That's an answer. Social media gives you the instant gratification, instant emotion, right? It's either the jealousy, it's either like you see like good-looking girl, or it's you see someone like, or you're angry at someone, right? It gives you the instant emotion, instant gratification, right? In business, to get the emotions, I mean, it's a long hours. It's a lot of fucking work to get some emotions. So, and initially you get the like Shopify. So when Shopify starts like bing 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 bing, right? So that gives you the emotion, that gives you the dopamine, right? So understanding this mechanism, right, and how to like literally manipulate yourself, can help you to go through these like initial stages, get you like motivated.
For sure.
So
put your phone away.
Put your phone away, and over time just turn off this Shopify stuff because it's too distracting.
You'd be surprised how much focus I gained from simply keeping my phone in another room while I was working. I just started doing that. I just leave it in the other room. Literally, I don't want to know about it. That's changed.
That if people apply that, like game over. Like then they'll be in the next interview here.
We'll get there when we'll see.
Come on,
Six-figure days.
Looking forward to see your next like breakthroughs, like building this into like a massive brand. And awesome connecting with you. You're like value add, and like thank you for following through. Listening and applying stuff, and it's been great working with you. And we'll see you around.
Thank you, and thank your team. Yeah.
Yeah. See you at the next level, my man.
Will do. Thanks for having me, man.